Hello, this is Professor Dan Kernler of Elgin Community College, and this is just a short video syllabus for my Math 120 Statistics class. This is for the spring 2022 semester. Just want to take a couple of minutes and kind of walk you through some of the stuff that you might get on the first day for a face-to-face class. So first of all, let's talk about how you're going to be graded. We've got 5 different course components. The first I'll call them understanding checks. So the way the learning is going to work here is I've got a variety of videos that I produced, and I want you to watch those videos, take some notes. There's also a website with some kind of static content you can read and take some notes. And then there's a quiz in D2L. This is a low stakes quiz. It's open notes. You can take it 3 times. It'll just give you the ones that you got wrong. And so those will be due on Wednesdays, and those are 15% of your grade. Next, we have like the more rigorous part of the course where there'll be actually computations that you make, and this we'll call the weekly practice. There will be a worksheet posted in D2L with questions. By the way, I should mention, both for the understanding checks where you're watching the videos and making notes and the weekly practice, these are open notes and open questions. You can ask me for things, you can email me, you can post to the discussion boards in the course. So this is really open. We want to make sure that you're not feeling like you're isolated and have to do all of this yourself. Just because it's an online class does not mean you can't interact and ask questions. We really want to encourage that. But the weekly practice, there'll be a worksheet with some questions for you to fill out. You want to have this all done, then there'll be a quiz in D2L. But this is a one-off, one time. You're not going to get to redo it. It's still open notes. You can use your course materials and you can submit that. Those will be due on Fridays. So the understanding checks are more like concepts, terminology, things like that, not any computations. And then the weekly practice is really you start to do the statistics that's involved for that particular week. We're also going to have a semester-long project. This isn't a project where you're assigned at the beginning of the semester and then you remember like finals week you got to turn it in. We'll do it in stages. It's going to be a topic that you choose, but there will be some restrictions. I'm going to have you dive into some really big data sources, and so I'll have a few data sources that you can choose from, and you can pick within those some things that you want to investigate within that. We'll have some guidelines for what kind of questions to ask, etc. So that'll be roughly every 3 weeks we'll turn in a part of that project. That's 15% of your grade. We are going to have 3 unit exams. These are every 4 weeks. So 3 unit exams covering like 3 weeks worth of material. These are at home. They're also open notes. We'll have a 2-day window of availability, and that'll be something where you will actually think of it like your weekly practice where you're keeping all your notes there. This is not a quiz in D2L. You're gonna have to make some graphs, type out some stuff, maybe post some output from our statistical software called StatCrunch, and then upload that to an assignment Dropbox. So those are the exams. So there are 10% of your grade each. And then finally, we'll have the final exam. This is like a double exam. Half of it's going to be a Unit 4 exam. This will be week 16, the last week of the semester. And then half of it will be a few selected questions from Units 1 through 3. So this is a regular unit exam plus another exam that'll just have a selection of topics from the first 3 units. And that's the final 20%. So think of each unit exam as 10% of your grade. Then there's a cumulative portion that's another 10% of your grade. Couple of other things. Time. Time is an issue for online asynchronous classes like ours where you don't have to meet. There's no regular class meeting to keep you on schedule. And so thinking about how much time you need to have and where you need to get that in your schedule is really important. The typical expectation is 2 hours outside of class for every each hour inside of class. That's a typical expectation for a college course. Math 120 is 4 credits, which means if we were on a face-to-face class, we would meet 4 hours a week in class. So typical schedule, we'd have 4 hours a week in class, we'd expect 8 hours a week outside of class. That's doing homework, working on projects, studying for tests, etc. That's a typical expectation. But now, we don't have those 4 hours a week in class. And so some students have this misguided perception that, hey, I just don't have to go to class and so I can save all this time. Now, most of us through the last couple of years have had experience taking math classes online, and so most of you probably know that that's not going to work, but I just want to reiterate is that 4 hours gets replaced with time that you have to spend yourself. So you're not just going to lose that 4 hours, you're actually going to have 12 hours now that's all your own time outside of class, because there is no class meeting time. So that's going to be, you watch these videos, which from week to week can vary from 20 to up to 45 minutes of videos. I think that's the maximum. But they're dense. You might need to pause one and rewind it, or email me, or do some things there. So you're going to have to watch those videos, take some notes. You got the understanding checks, which you might have to do multiple times. Maybe you do it twice and you're nervous, so you email me to make sure you have it right before you do that third attempt. Then you're working on the weekly practice. You're emailing me questions there. So all of that stuff stacks up, and you really need to have significant blocks of time set aside so you can be successful. All right, weekly workflow. Here's our suggestion here. I recommend that on Saturdays and Sundays you're watching these videos. Maybe Monday, Tuesday you can work on that as well. You're working on the online lessons. You got that understanding check. You've started the weekly practice. Then those understanding check quizzes are due on Wednesday. When I say due on Wednesday, I mean 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday is the final deadline when those have to be done. Thursday, Friday, you work on finishing up that weekly practice. And then Friday, you've got that weekly practice quiz due. Again, that's also at 11:59 p.m. So that's the typical week that I would recommend. You can go things a lot earlier if you like. That's definitely fine. But this would be like the deadlines when things have to be done each week. Okay, attendance. It's an online class. We don't have any Zoom meetings. It's asynchronous. So how do we have attendance? Well, if you drop off the course and you don't submit things for a couple of weeks, and I'm reaching out and I don't hear from you, you could be withdrawn for not attending. So you still have to participate in the course, continue turning things in. ECC is not supposed to be, see, we get money from the state for every student that's enrolled. And we're not supposed to be getting money from the state if you're not actually still taking the class. We can't wait and then find out 8 weeks later, oh yeah, this student just stopped coming and they actually withdrew. So if you stop attending, I'm gonna reach out, but then you could be withdrawn if you just stop doing stuff for a couple of weeks. Okay, that is it. I hope this was helpful, at least give you the basic ideas of what our course is going to look like. If you have any questions, you can email me. Otherwise, we've got a lot of stuff to do. We'll jump in and get started right away, week 1.